Hi, I'm Jude from headfi.org. Today we're going to talk about CanJam at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest 2018, which is happening again at the Denver Marriott Tech Center Hotel in Denver, Colorado on October 5th, 6th, and 7th, 2018. This is actually the 10th annual CanJam at RMAF. Now there are a lot of new products in this preview, some of which you haven't seen before and all of which will be at the show. As this is one of the longest ones yet, let's not waste any time and get right to it. Let's open up this CanJam at RMAF preview with some huge news, an important new headphone release. For the past 3 years, MrSpeakers' Ether line of planar magnetic headphones, the Ether and the Ether C models, they've been immensely popular in our community. Now at CanJam at RMAF, MrSpeakers will be unveiling the MrSpeakers Ether 2. This is not an update to an existing model. This is a new headphone with an all-new planar magnetic driver. Now as you can see, the MrSpeakers Ether 2 looks a lot like their Voce electrostatic headphone, and that's an apt resemblance as so much was learned by Dan Clark, Chief Engineer Jason Egger, and the team at MrSpeakers as they developed their electrostatic drivers. Now some of what they learned making the Voce led to the development of their True Flow waveguides for their planar magnetic headphones to eliminate turbulence-inducing right angles from the driver's motor structure. But there was already a motor in use that predated True Flow, so these waveguides had to be built to work with that existing motor structure. For Ether 2, however, they were starting from scratch, building an all-new driver. So this time they were able to design the motor around the True Flow technology. Dan Clark says this resulted in major improvements in internal motor airflow. This results in significant upgrades to all aspects of sonic performance. I'll get to the Ether 2 sound in a minute. One key design goal for the Ether 2 was making it as lightweight as possible. Among many other optimizations, MrSpeakers designed an all-new baffle that helped bring the headphone's weight down to just 290 grams, or 10.23 ounces. This makes the Ether 2 among the very lightest full-sized high-end headphones on the market. The Ether 2 is almost shockingly light, and it's easily among the most comfortable in this class of headphones. Of course, the most important thing is how the new MrSpeakers Ether 2 sounds. If you're familiar with the Ether Flow, then you know it's beautifully resolving and fast. Now, imagine a headphone by the same maker with the brand new driver, optimized waveguides, and 60% less moving mass. The Ether 2 is, as you might imagine, clearly more resolving, clearly faster. It is both of these things, and with a warm and natural tone and an even larger soundstage. MrSpeakers hit it out of the park with this one. Now, while it doesn't necessarily sound like my Stax SR007 electrostatic headphones, the Ether 2 brings the 007s to mind with me, as with the 007s, when I'm listening to the Ether 2, I'm hearing details I don't hear with most headphones, but still awash in warmth and rich, fleshy, realistic tones. It's these qualities that made me decide to make the MrSpeakers Ether 2 the very first product I'd talk about in this preview. The Ether 2 also comes with MrSpeakers' new Flagship Vivo cable and your choice of terminations. The custom Vivo cable is much more supple, it's lighter and less microphonic than previous MrSpeakers cables, and it's based on MrSpeakers' Voce electrostatic headphones cable. MrSpeakers also recently announced the Ether Flow 1.1 and the Ether C Flow 1.1. With version 1.1, both the Ether Flow and Ether C Flow have improved with larger soundstage, more resolution, more dynamics, and a smoother response, all while maintaining the same general curves. Both 1.1 headphones also come with the new Vivo cable. Now, if you're a current Ether Flow or Ether C Flow owner and you're interested in upgrading to version 1.1 to get these improvements, MrSpeakers has a price and product feature protection policy that allows anyone who purchased over the last 30 days to get a price match, free upgrade, and an upgrade to Vivo cable. And for owners who purchased within 30 to 90 days, there's a Vivo cable rebate program and a free 1.1 upgrade kit. See MrSpeakers' website for terms and conditions. For the CanJam London preview video a few months ago, we weren't yet allowed to show you this, the one in the middle here. This is the new Chord Electronics Hugo M Scaler, so we had to hide it under a black sheet for that video. Now having to do that was tough since it was the audio product I've been most looking forward to this year. Now the Hugo M Scaler was a huge draw at CanJam London, and it'll be at CanJam at RMAF, and now I can tell you about it. For those of you not familiar, Rob Watts, who designs the DACs for Chord Electronics, does not use off-the-shelf DAC chips. There are none available that have the specifications he's after, so he uses custom-coded field programmable gate arrays, or FPGAs. Now, one of Rob's major focuses is a DAC's performance in the time domain. Rob feels that one of digital audio's biggest weaknesses is the timing of transients, which is important for how we perceive sound, pitch, timbre, imaging, and the positioning of image objects within the soundstage. According to Rob, a tap length tells you how complex the interpolation filter is, and if you want to reconstruct the original waveform with perfectly defined transients, he says you need a lot of FIR taps. In 1999, Chord's DAC64 had 1,024 taps. In 2008, their QDB76 DAC had 18,000 taps. In 2013, the Chord Hugo had 26,000 taps. In 2015, the Dave brought 164,000 taps. And with the M-Scaler, there are over 1 million taps. Why is this so important? Well, according to Rob, if you use a 1,000,000 tap length filter, when you do the mathematics for his WTA algorithm, it turns out that the coefficients that he uses for the filter, this is the value that you're multiplying in the taps, are absolutely identical to sync function. What this means is that when you do the interpolation process using those coefficients, you're guaranteed to reconstruct the original bandwidth-limited analog signal to a 16-bit accuracy. Rob says then, for the first time, you're getting 16-bit digital CD with the missing parts in between the waveform, subjectively important parts he asserts, being reconstructed to a guaranteed 16-bit accuracy. He says even the best DACs today are only 2 or 3 bits accurate with reconstruction. Now there's a lot more to it, but we're time limited here, so make sure to check out Rob Watts' posts in his forum blog area on headfi.org called Watts Up, where he's discussed this over the last couple of years in far greater detail. I'll put a link to Watts Up in the description of this video. The Hugo M-Scaler is a standalone upscaler with exactly the same filter core used in the Chord Blue Mark II, but without the Blue Mark II's CD transport, making the Hugo M-Scaler substantially less expensive. But, like the Blue Mark II, the Hugo M-Scaler enables Rob's 1 million tap filter when used with Chord's dual BNC DACs. The Dave, the Cutest, and the new Hugo TT2, which we'll get to in a minute. You can even use it with the portable Hugo 2, but you'll need a special adapter cable to go from its mini plug coax to dual BNC, which Moon Audio sells, by the way. The reason I've been waiting for the M-Scaler is because every time I've heard the 1,000,000 tap Blue Mark II Chord Dave combo, I've been blown away. First through loudspeakers and then headphones. The holographic imaging is like nothing else I've heard from stereo. It doesn't sound processed or overblown either. It sounds and feels real, and I've especially found when you have recordings that contain a lot of acoustic information, the M-Scaler can work magic. In our world, the M-Scaler would be my choice for product of the year so far. Chord Electronics will, of course, also have the long-awaited Chord Hugo TT2 at their exhibit, the one on the top here. The Chord Hugo TT2 is far more than a desktop version of Chord's newest portable Chord Hugo 2 and far more than an incremental upgrade to the original Chord Hugo TT. It actually has double the processing power of the Hugo 2 and 5 times that of the original Hugo TT. The Hugo TT2 also has nearly double the taps of the Hugo 2 with its 93,304 tap 10-element pulse array design. In addition to having state-of-the-art DAC performance, the Hugo TT2 adds headphone amp versatility and drive that make it a headphone enthusiast stream in a single chassis. It can output up to 288 milliwatts into 300 ohms and 7.3 watts into 8 ohms from its unbalanced outputs, and up to 1.15 watts into 300 ohms and 18 watts into 8 ohms from its balanced outputs. With that kind of drive and 2 gain settings, the Hugo TT2 can drive pretty much anything, from the most sensitive IEMs to the least sensitive over-ears. Alone, the Hugo TT2 is virtually without peer in my experience. Coupled with the Hugo M-Scaler, I can't think of a digital source component I've been more impressed with other than the M-Scaled Dave. Now, in case you were wondering, this under here is the Chord Electronics T-Toby amplifier. It's a 100 watt per channel amplifier by Chord Electronics, obviously for driving loudspeakers. They'll have it at RMAF, and we'll say more about the T-Toby in a future video. Now, if I had to pick one exhibit at CanJam at RMAF as the top must-stop-and-listen exhibit, it would be Chord Electronics. So make sure to stop by and listen to the Hugo M-Scaler, the Hugo TT2, and the rest of Chord's superbly engineered products. In the last CanJam preview, I showed you FiiO's very impressive research and development facility in Guangzhou, China. Now, what's very interesting is that a facility like that could be used to design and engineer the most state-of-the-art equipment at no limits, cost-no-object pricing. But what FiiO does instead is use that facility to engineer and build products with sometimes seemingly impossible value density, with crazy levels of technology and engineering packed in for affordable prices. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is the new FiiO BTR3. Do not leave CanJam at RMAF without auditioning it. FiiO calls the BTR3 a portable high-fidelity Bluetooth amplifier. I have to imagine deciding what to officially call the BTR3 was a struggle because it's a lot of things beyond that description. To the best of my knowledge, the FiiO BTR3 is the only device we have in a vast sea of gear here at HeadFi HQ that supports every single one of the current Bluetooth audio codecs, including the high-resolution ones, SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX low latency, aptX HD, LDAC, and HWA LHDC. Essentially then, the BTR3 turns any headphone or earphone that can be driven by its output stage into a wireless headphone that supports all of those Bluetooth codecs. I'm still more of an audio purist, but the improvements in wireless audio quality have made Bluetooth a very real option for me when I'm on the go. And with the BTR3 I can make even top-tier IEMs wireless, so something like this is a big deal. I also use the BTR3 in my car. I have a little 2010 Honda that doesn't have built-in Bluetooth. I attached this little camera strap lanyard to the BTR3. I loop this around my rear view mirror. I let the BTR3 hang down like this, and then I plug it into my car stereo's auxiliary input. So yeah, it's an old Honda Fit, but now it supports high-res Bluetooth. When I leave the car, I just detach it like this and I can take it with me. What are other uses for the BTR3? Well, you can add high-res Bluetooth connectivity to your home theater system. If you have active loudspeakers, you can Bluetooth enable those too. And if you have the latest firmware update, the BTR3 can even serve as a USB DAC. Now consider everything I've just told you about the BTR3 and then consider its price, because the FiiO BTR3 is only $70. Now since it arrived, I carry the FiiO BTR3 with me pretty much everywhere. I really should shoot a dedicated video about the BTR3. FiiO will also have their new M3K portable digital audio player at CanJam at RMAF. Whenever I use the M3K, I'm reminded a bit of the iPod Nano 5th generation with the screen on top, controls on bottom. Unlike the iPod Nano, however, the FiiO M3K will decode PCM up to 32384 and DSD. By the way, both the M3K and the BTR3 use the AKM AK4376A DAC, and the M3K can also serve as a USB DAC. Now, one other cool, unusual feature that the M3K has is audio recording using its built-in microphone. Storage on the M3K is via microSD, and FiiO says it'll support microSD up to 2 terabytes. One more thing I should mention about the M3K is its battery life, which is outstanding. From a full charge, expect 24 hours of listening time from the M3K and standby time up to 38 days. And like the BTR3, by the way, the FiiO M3K is only $70. FiiO will also be showing an upcoming Android-based portable digital audio player called the M9. The M9 will have a DAC section built around 2 AKM AK4490EN DACs. It'll also have advanced Bluetooth supporting aptX, aptX HD, LDAC, and HWA LHDC, and it's expected to have Bluetooth receiver functionality added with software updates. Now, according to FiiO, the M9 will have sound quality very close to their outstanding Q5. I think this is a very, very good thing. And the M9 will also support Wi-Fi, so there'll be streaming, including offline mode. Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to the M9. I love that FiiO marshals its state-of-the-art engineering, R&D, and development capabilities to so skillfully cram so much performance into such affordable gear. Make sure to visit FiiO's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF to audition their BTR3, the M3K, the upcoming M9, and the rest of their extensive product lineup. Campfire Audio is going to be at CanJam at RMAF, and they'll have an exciting new IEM to launch there. It's the new custom-fit IEM called the Equinox. Now, off the top of my head right now, I can't think of any companies who make full-shell custom IEMs who started first by making universal-fit IEMs. Now, I've known Campfire Audio founder Ken Ball for a long, long time now, and he rarely thinks inside the box, so I guess this shouldn't be too surprising. The Campfire Audio Equinox's custom body is a unibody solid 3D printed shell. They create the exterior design from a scan of your ear impressions, then the internal acoustic chambers are incorporated into the 3D model, giving each earphone optimized acoustic pathways. There's a solid stainless steel CNC backplate on the dynamic driver chamber, and that chamber backplate, by the way, also helps make the Equinox one of the nicest looking customs out there. Now, speaking of the driver, the Equinox uses a 10mm ADLC dynamic driver, ADLC standing for amorphous diamond-like carbon. With the Equinox, Campfire is going with the shallow insertion form factor for extra comfort and ease of use. I know FiiO from Tokyo does this, as do maybe 1 or 2 other companies. Anyway, my FiiO MH334 Custom has a shorter, shallower insertion depth, and they're among the most comfortable custom in-ear monitors I've got. Now, I didn't have time to get ear impressions made to send to Campfire in time to get a custom version of the Equinox, so they sent us this loaner universal set demo pair, which of course doesn't include the custom optimized acoustic pathways. The sound of the Equinox strikes me as somewhere between the bass emphasis of the powerful sounding physical Campfire Audio Atlas and the more even-handed Campfire Audio Andromeda, but more on the Atlas side of that continuum. The imaging is outstanding, wide soundstage, deep soundstage for an IEM. I think I better get some ear impressions sent over to Campfire, as I can only imagine this is going to get better in custom form. Now, of course, Campfire will also have its full line of products at CanJam at RMAF, including the new Andromeda in stainless steel, the Atlas and the Comet IEMs, and the Cascade over-ear headphone and the new cloth ear pads for it, and much more. Big news from Abyss headphones. At CanJam at RMAF, they're going to be showing for the very first time a new model called the Abyss Diana Phi. The original Abyss Diana is a fantastic way to get a lot of the magic of the big AB1266 in a much more compact size. They decided to take the Diana platform even further by, as they describe it, making it bigger on the inside. In other words, the Abyss Diana Phi will incorporate the Phi planar speakers from their flagship AB1266 Phi CC, but adapted for the Diana chassis. The result? The Diana Phi really gets within striking distance of the Abyss flagship AB1266 Phi CC. Another change they made to the Diana Phi versus the standard Diana is a new ear pad designed specifically to match the new driver's acoustics. The inside area of the Diana Phi ear pads is more spacious, which is perhaps one of the reasons the Diana Phi casts a larger image than the standard Diana. Is it where the AB1266 Phi CC is, though, in terms of imaging? I'd say not quite there yet, as the headband of the AB1266 Phi CC lets me play with not just the width, but also the angle, and I can rotate the AB1266 earpads for further tweaking, so I can tailor the AB1266 Phi CC into an imaging monster on my head. But for as well as the Diana Phi does in this regard, and with a design that's much less unwieldy, like I said, it's really within striking distance of its flagship sibling. Of course, Abyss headphones will also have the original version Abyss Diana headphones at the show, which is, and will likely remain, one of my favorite on-the-go flagship class headphones. It's one of my favorite hotel headphones when I travel. And they'll also have the magnificent flagship AB1266 Phi CC, CC standing for ceramic coating, the type they're using being, according to Abyss, the hardest thin film coating available. It's also gorgeous with its two-tone finish, which is two different shades of matte black. The new Phi CC earpads are also deeper and more comfortable than the original AB1266 earpads, which pushed imaging performance even further. Anyway, make sure not to miss the Abyss headphones exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. Fostex will be at CanJam at RMAF, and they'll be bringing a headphone that I've been looking forward to hearing ever since I saw it announced very recently. This is the brand new open-back sibling to their Fostex TH900. It's the Fostex TH909. Now, the open-back Fostex TH909 uses a metal grille with an offset double-layer design. Like its semi-closed-back TH900 sibling, the TH909 uses a 50mm Beyerdynamic biocellulose driver and a magnetic circuit with 1.5 Tesla flux density. Also like the TH900 is the TH909's Urushi lacquer Bordeaux finish. Now, the intent with the TH909, according to Fostex, was to keep the same sound characteristics of the TH900, but with an expanded and increased sound field by going to an open-back design and some necessary adjustments to the acoustic circuit design in the transition to open-back. Did they succeed? Yes, they did, because even with its more open-back design, the TH909 maintains the TH900's deep bass extension. Both of these headphones have tremendous bass extension for electrodynamic headphones. Still, in comparing the two, I feel the TH909's bass sounds a bit less boosted, and the treble is smoother but still quite sparkly. It's less bright to my ears, and it's in a way that favors the TH909. Nevertheless, there's no denying a familial resemblance both in terms of appearance and in terms of sound, so mission accomplished. That said, what differences there are favor the TH909 in my opinion. There was definitely a place for an open-back model in this Fostex flagship family of TH model headphones, and the TH909 fills it beautifully. Now, while you're at Fostex's exhibit checking out the TH900 and the TH909, also make sure to check out the rest of Fostex's lineup, especially this Fostex T60 RP, which to me is easily the best variant of the Fostex RP family of headphones, and it requires absolutely no modding to get there. Benchmark Media will be at CanJam at RMAF, and they'll have what, in terms of its measured performance, is perhaps the most transparent audio amplifier in the world today. This new amplifier is the Benchmark HPA4, and it's probably the lowest distortion, lowest noise anything I've yet measured. Its noise floor is barely above that of the Audio Precision APX 555, and the 555 is the quietest, lowest distortion audio analyzer on the planet. Now, the Benchmark HPA4 uses the flagship version of THX's AAA headphone amp technology, AAA standing for Achromatic Audio Amplifier. In our measurement lab, we actually use a THX AAA amp that was custom built for us by the team at THX. It's a lab-grade amp, and so then is the Benchmark HPA4. Now, you may have seen other AAA-based amplifiers, but Benchmark's HPA4 is the only one I currently know of, other than our THX custom-built lab amp that uses the flagship AAA variant called the 888. Now, while our lab amp is fixed at unity gain, of course the Benchmark HPA4 has to have a volume control. And to keep the volume control from being the weak link in the chain, where performance and transparency is most apt to be lost, Benchmark developed a volume control that uses 4 256-step relay-controlled attenuators and 4 16-step relay-controlled boost amplifiers. It's a fantastic versatile volume control, and it does nothing to diminish the performance of the THX AAA 888 amplifier. At CanJam and RMAF, go to Benchmark's exhibit and listen to the HPA4. Again, in doing so, you'll be listening to what may be the most measurably transparent audio amplifier currently made. Of course, Benchmark is perhaps best known for fantastically engineered DACs like this Benchmark DAC3 HGC, so you don't want to miss their DACs either. EarSonics is a French in-ear monitor maker quite popular in the community, known both for their premium custom fit and universal fit IEMs. They're quite well regarded by enthusiasts. After hearing these, I can understand now why there are many fans of EarSonics in the community. The SEM9 is EarSonics' current flagship universal fit. The SEM9's driver complement is all balanced armatures with 1 low driver, 4 mids, and 4 high drivers per side, and it's a fast-sounding reference class IEM. Now, I think sometimes people mistake bright with fast, but something with a bright tonal balance isn't necessarily fast. The SEM9 is fast and resolving. Its bass sounds deep and impactful to me, flatter and level than my usual tastes, but it's a super taut resolving bass. Actually, across the audio band, speed just seems an apt adjective to describe the SEM9. There's a sort of edge resolution across the entire spectrum that's exciting and lively, yet still shy of fatiguing. It's a wonderful piece. This is the EarSonics ES5 Universal Fit IEM, also containing all balanced armature drivers with 1 low, 2 mids, and 2 high drivers per side. It reminds me a lot of the SEM9 in so many ways, but a little less intense, a bit less exciting, a bit less edge resolution, but still very resolving. I prefer the SEM9, but not by much. And this just in, we just found out today that EarSonics is going to be introducing a new flagship universal fit IEM at the show called the Grace. The Grace will have 10 drivers per side, and EarSonics said it'll be the most sophisticated ever designed by EarSonics. Now, like the ES5 and the SEM9, the Grace will be made by EarSonics in France, and that's all the information I have on it so far. At their exhibit, EarSonics will also have this, the Birdie HD. Now, the EarSonics Birdie HD is a pendant-style Bluetooth accessory that allows you to use your EarSonics IEMs wirelessly via Bluetooth, and it even supports aptX HD. Now, after using the SEM9 and the ES5, I want to hear the rest of the EarSonics lineup, so join me and make sure not to miss EarSonics at CanJam at RMAF. Attention exhibitors, DIYers, and even those just curious about audio measurements and how they're done, this segment's for you. Audio Precision will be at RMAF in Suite 3014. AP will have their audio analyzers like this APX 555 and APX 1701 in Suite 3014 to test amplifiers, DACs, and just about any other audio devices. They'll also have their Audio Precision AECM 206 headphone test fixture with which to test your headphones and earphones. Regardless of which kind of audio measurements you're looking to do, I have no doubt you'll marvel at the extent of measurements and tests that can be done with these latest AP analyzers and the insights you'll gain about your own products. Now, what's also great about this is that Audio Precision isn't just going to hook up your gear, measure it, and send you on your way. You get one-on-one time at a test station with an Audio Precision test expert who will run the tests and discuss and explain your results. These are results you can take with you. At Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, there are always a lot of fascinating seminars and discussion panels, so make sure to go to audiofest.net and check out the entire event schedule. There are some, though, that are specific to headphone audio, so I'll highlight those now. On Friday, October 5th, from 4:15 p.m. to 5:15 p.m., I'll be moderating a discussion panel titled Digital Signal Processing, DSP, in Headphones, Stigma or Solution. The esteemed panel will include Paul Barton of PSB and NAD, Mario Gebhardt of Beyerdynamic, and Shankar Thiagasamudram of Audeze. On Saturday, October 6th, from 3:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m., I'll be presenting a talk titled Why Audio Measurements Matter and Why They Sometimes Don't. I'll give a quick tour through the world of headphone and audio electronics measurements with a bit more emphasis on the headphone measurement side, which shouldn't surprise any of you. We'll examine the level of precision needed to measure today's headphones and audio electronics, how measurement data is obtained, why audio measurements matter, and why they sometimes don't. Also on Saturday, October 6th, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., Warren Chi will be moderating a Q&A session and discussion panel titled The 2018 Headphone Audio AMA, Ask the Experts. Discussion moderator Warren Chi is a longtime community member and HeadFi staffer who goes by the username Warren P. Chi on the forums. The all-star panel includes Paul Barton of PSB and NAD, Dan Clark of MrSpeakers, Nicolas Debard of Focal, and Thorsten Loesch of iFi Audio. On Sunday, October 7th, from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Warren Chi will be moderating a discussion panel titled, Do Earphones Now Rival Full-Size Headphones in Performance? The veteran panel includes Carl Cartwright of Westone, Matt Engstrom of Shure, Mario Gebhardt of Beyerdynamic, and Shankar Thiagasamudram of Audeze. All of the sessions I've just highlighted will take place at the Marriott Aspen Amphitheater on the lobby level. And again, these are just the sessions that are more headphone specific. There are many more seminars and discussion panels covering many different audio and music topics. So again, make sure to review the entire show schedule at audiofest.net for complete details of the above sessions and all the other seminars, panels, and listening sessions. Sony has almost 120,000 employees worldwide, a huge multinational company by any standard. Yet they'll still craft esoteric audio products that you'd expect to see from smaller, artisanal, super specialty houses. I can't think of another company Sony size that does this, and I love that about Sony. I know some of the key people who develop Sony's high-end personal audio products, and these guys are passionate, not just about engineering, but about music, how music is made, and how to artfully convey that music through their gear. These guys will go to musical performances and recording studios at every opportunity. I once went with some of them to Seigen Ono's studio after dinner in Tokyo, and these guys will talk intensely, as much about the emotional impact of the music, the feel, the mood, as they will topics more technical. And Sony gives these teams the autonomy to create, to craft, again, even the more esoteric super specialty audio gear. Now, over the last few years, Sony has been on an amazing run with a slew of incredible products, like their Signature Series audio components, Walkman models, and of course, headphones. Well, they're going to be exhibiting at CanJam at RMAF this year with another arsenal of fantastic new audio products. Let's start with the most esoteric. This is the latest Sony Signature Series piece. It's called the Sony DMP-Z1 digital music player. The DMP-Z1's H-shaped chassis looks like something built to withstand battle. Now, in addition to being so physically inert, it also serves to separate the digital block from the analog block, which are also electronically separated. There are 5 battery cells driving both of those stages independently, isolating power delivery from conventional AC power supplies. The volume control looks to me to be a customized quad-unit Alps RK50 potentiometer, which many consider the best volume control for the purpose. If that's what it is, you do not even want to know how much one of those things costs. And that's only one of the many exotic bits and pieces inside the DMP-Z1. Now, the DMP-Z1 has a unique form factor. On the top panel is a screen from which you can use the DMP-Z1 as a kind of desktop Walkman. It has 256 gigs of internal storage and also has 2 microSD slots for expansion. You can operate the DMP-Z1 away from wall power as well, the batteries providing around 10 hours of listening. The DMP-Z1 can also be used as a USB DAC. Whether used as a media player or USB DAC, it can decode PCM up to 32384 or DSD up to 11.2 MHz. I used the DMP-Z1 with the Sony MDR-Z1R headphones, and that is such a gorgeous sounding system. In its default settings, it's more resolving than the flagship portable NW-WM1Z Walkman. Whereas the WM1Z tends toward a highly detailed warmth, the DMP-Z1 in comparison has more sparkle and air. It outputs up to 1500 milliwatts into 16 ohms, so there's solid drive for most headphones. Even so, the background was black with the sensitive IEMs I tried with it, including Sony's new IER-M7 and IER-M9. Speaking of Sony's new IEMs, all 3 of Sony's new premium in-ear monitors, the Signature Series IER-Z1R and the IER-M9 and M7, will be at CanJam at RMAF. Now, I have not yet heard the IER-Z1R, but I can't wait to hear it because it's Sony's new flagship IEM. Now, the Z1R has 3 newly developed driver units in what Sony is calling an HD hybrid driver system. There's a full-range 12mm magnesium diaphragm dynamic driver, a new balanced armature tweeter also with a magnesium diaphragm, and a 5mm dynamic super tweeter set coaxially in the nozzle. The chassis and driver housings are made from zirconium alloy and magnesium alloy, and an exploded view of the IER-Z1R shows a pretty sophisticated, complex design. Again, I can't wait to hear it. The IER-M9 and the IER-M7 are the other 2 new Sony IEM models. The IER-M9 uses 5 of Sony's new design balanced armatures, including a balanced armature super tweeter with a magnesium alloy diaphragm. The IER-M7 uses 4 of those Sony balanced armatures, but does not employ the super tweeter BA. Now, the outer shape of the M7 and M9 housings are similar, and they're a departure from past Sony IEMs in that they're a more conventional cable-up concha-type shape. Now, the fit with the M7 and M9 is easy and quick for me, more so than most of Sony's past IEMs. To my ears, another departure from past Sony IEMs is the sound signature. Both the M7 and the M9 use a more linear, more reference-type sound signature than I'm used to from Sony's IEMs, and they're good. Really good. I could see either of these being used as studio monitors, and it seems that Sony also sees these models performing as stage monitors. Now, sonically to my ears, the M7 and M9 are more alike than they are different. Both have slight bass emphasis, but I find the lift quite mild, and both are very linear and resolving through the midband. Where they differ is in the treble. While both are resolving up high, the M9 has a bit more presence, sparkle, detail, and air up there, which gives it the advantage with me. But that said, I'm digging both the M7 and the M9 a lot. Sony will also have the recently announced update to its 1000 series active noise cancelling headphone, the WH-1000 XM3. In my opinion, with the first generation version, Sony surpassed Bose in terms of noise cancelling. And I'm going to be taking this WH-1000 XM3 on a flight for the first time when I head out to Denver for RMAF this week to see how it does. I'll also bring the XM2 with me to compare. In my opinion, you need the noise on an airplane to really make the best comparisons with ANC headphones. That said, at Sony's exhibit, put the WH-1000 XM3 on your head and turn it on. You'll be shocked at how much noise attenuation it provides. Finally, Sony confirmed that the update to the popular Sony MDR Z7, the new Sony MDR Z7 M2, will be at CanJam at RMAF. According to Sony, the Z7 M2 brings improved sound quality and wearing comfort versus its predecessor. The Z7 M2's 70mm driver unit was newly developed for it using an aluminum-coated liquid crystal polymer diaphragm, bigger magnets, and a Fibonacci pattern grille. I was told it's a substantial step up from its predecessor, so I can't wait to hear it. Anyway, make sure to stop by Sony's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. I have no doubt it'll be one of the busiest, most exciting exhibits at the show with all their new products. One of the headphones under development that I've been watching with great interest is the upcoming Meze Audio flagship, the Planar Magnetic Empyrean. This is a headphone that Meze has been spending painstaking effort to get right. They've spent a lot of time on this one. Antonio Meze reminds me of Dan Clark of MrSpeakers sometimes, obsessing over the tiniest details. He sends me measurements at odd hours of the night, and after all this time and effort, this is the payoff. This is a production Meze Audio Empyrean. Along with their development partners at Renaro, Meze developed a very uniquely engineered planar magnetic driver. We've discussed the very distinctive dual-coil design in some detail before, and it is very innovative. Now, another distinctive detail is how they use the driver's magnets to create one of the most satisfying earpad mounting mechanisms in the industry, perhaps the nicest to use in terms of ease of use and in terms of feel. But this whole earpad mounting apparatus is also part of the driver assembly's magnetic tuning. It's brilliant, really. Zia from Manley Labs told me the Empyrean might be the best headphone he's heard so far from Manley's superb tube headphone amp, the Manley Absolute headphone amplifier. Just before we shot this segment, that's exactly the combo I was listening to, and I can understand Zia's enthusiasm for the combo. The Empyrean has a signature that I describe as a warm neutral with deep, fast bass extension and gentle bass emphasis. The Empyrean's mid-range is very detailed, though not as incisive as something like an HE1000 SE. But the Empyrean makes that a positive payoff for those who'll take a little trade-off in edge sharpness for a smoother brand of detail that begs to be listened to for hours. The treble sounds as extended as these ears allow me to hear, but again is delivered with a velvety touch. This is a gorgeous sounding headphone and is entirely deserving of being counted among the most serious contenders in the headphone world. The Meze Empyrean also comes with what's probably the best fit and finish I've ever seen on a headphone. This headphone is a macro photographer's dream. Whether you look at it at arm's length or zoom into any given millimeter of it, you see beautiful detail and the careful attention that was paid to it. When I examine the Empyrean, I have visions of artisans wearing jeweler's loupes crafting it. The carbon fiber headband on the sample we have here is literally flawless, as is the leather and the stitching of it. The word exquisite comes to mind a lot when holding this or wearing it. Anyway, check out Meze's entire product line at their CanJam at RMAF exhibit. But make the production Meze Audio Empyrean one of your very top must-hear new headphones if you're coming to the show. I think most enthusiasts would agree with me when I say that Astell&Kern is the company that years ago redefined the level of performance that we expect from our portable digital audio players. They set the standard, and in my opinion, when it comes to price no object, best of the best players, for me right now, it's Astell&Kern and Sony. At CanJam at RMAF, Astell&Kern will be unveiling big news, huge news for AK fans when they unveil an upcoming firmware update for selected models. Those models being the new A&Ultima SP1000M. Yes, it's a new model, and I'll get to it in a minute. The A&Ultima SP1000 and the A&Futura SE100. This firmware update will be of great significance to those who stream music, as it allows the installation of selected music streaming app APKs, including Amazon Music, Pandora, SoundCloud, Spotify, AWA, KKBox, Melon, Bug, MusicMate, Tidal, and perhaps others later. And for any of the music apps with an offline mode, expect to be able to download and use offline mode with these Astell&Kern players. Again, this is huge news for Astell&Kern fans. Now, since so much of my music listening nowadays happens with Tidal, my choice for a daily carry top-tier player has just been firmed up. So let's talk about the new A&Ultima SP1000M, which is essentially a 4-inch version of the SP1000, which has a larger 5-inch screen. The SP1000M has the same octa-core CPU, same dual AK4497 EQ DACs and other features as the SP1000, but it's smaller and lighter. The original SP1000 and Sony's NW-WM1Z are as close as you're going to get to desktop source performance in portable players, but they're heavy. The original SP1000 comes in stainless steel or copper. We have the stainless steel one here, and it weighs 13.6 ounces. Of course, the copper SP1000's even heavier. The SP1000M, being smaller and aluminum, weighs only 7.5 ounces, so the SP1000M gives me SP1000 performance without the size and weight. It also comes in this stunning lapis blue color that I think is one of the best colors for an Astell&Kern player I've seen so far. If you like the larger screen, but you still want something lighter than the original SP1000 models, the Futura SE100 has the larger 5-inch screen, but only weighs 8.5 ounces. Now, the SE100 uses the ESS Sabre ES9038 Pro DAC and makes clear you can get smooth sound from that DAC. Another Astell&Kern product you'll definitely want to check out is the Astell&Kern Billie Jean Universal Fit IEM by JH Audio. The Billie Jean has a new dual balanced armature driver system and is one of the strongest value IEMs I can think of in its price range. Now, this is one of the most affordable IEMs I could comfortably recommend as a studio monitor. It has a clean, full signature with treble presence that takes me to the outer limits of my preference, but just shy of bright. Now, Jerry Harvey had to put a lot of work into the Billie Jean to get this performance at the affordable price, and it's definitely worth a listen. Anyway, make sure to visit Astell&Kern's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. Make sure to check out the new firmware, the new players, Billie Jean, and the rest of Astell&Kern's extensive line. Jerry Harvey's JH Audio will be exhibiting at CanJam at RMAF, and they'll be showing for the very first time a new Universal Fit design concept for all of their Universal Fit models. While JH Audio's Freak Phase waveguide solved one of the most difficult challenges, achieving phase coherence with multi-driver IEMs, it created another challenge in the process: how to package the waveguides, the time-delayed tubes, into a comfortable Universal Fit shell. You ever see the Freak Phase tube length on the treble drivers? With the new Universal Fit design concept they'll be showing at RMAF, they nailed it. I haven't seen the insides of these latest pieces, but I do know it involves SLA 3D printing and some clever design finagling. They maintain phase coherence while shrinking the shells down to a size, depending on the model, 33% to 38% smaller than the previous Performance Series versions of their Universal Fits. They also better optimize the nozzle length and angle to make these among the most quick-seating Universal Fit IEMs I've used. These new shell designs are a vast improvement over any previous JH Audio Universal Fit design. JH Audio will also be featuring their signature designs, which are versions of their IEMs crafted in exotic materials like copper, abalone, Bacote wood, rose gold, and others. This is a shot of a custom-designed HiFi logo mosaic design signature series piece. JH Audio is also showing a new line of premium leather goods, especially for IEM enthusiasts, through a partnership with local designers and craftsmen at Form Function Form in Orlando, Florida. This is the JH Audio Premium Leather Accessory Package. This is very cool. It consists of a soft leather IEM case, and it's made from a single piece of thick Horween leather, laser cut, edge burnished, and riveted. There's a rear space in this case in which this leather accessory pouch nestles. This pouch is also made from Horween leather and holds all your IEM tools. And there's an included leather cable wrap. Finally, JH Audio and Astell&Kern have teamed up for 2 giveaways at CanJam at RMAF. One very lucky winner will win an RMAF Commemorative Edition Universal JH13 V2 Pro in the new shell design, along with an Astell&Kern AK70 Mark II. Another lucky person will win a Special Edition Universal Roxanne in the new shell design, along with a matching blue Astell&Kern Con. Visit the JH Audio and Astell&Kern exhibits at CanJam at RMAF to find out more details and to enter to win. iFi Audio will be at CanJam at RMAF with what's perhaps the most versatile headphone amp on the planet. This is the iFi Audio Pro iCan. As I've said before, it's a dream amp for reviewers or anyone with a wide variety of headphones to drive. It's quiet enough to drive something like a Campfire Audio Andromeda or a FiiO MH334, yet it also has a maximum output of 14,000 milliwatts, so it can also drive an Abyss AB1266, an Audeze LCD4, or even this HiFiMan HE6SC, which is among the least sensitive headphones we have here. The Pro iCan is also like having both a solid-state and a tube amp with 2 individual solid-state and tube amplification sections that you can switch between. Most importantly, though, in all of its modes, the Pro iCan is a fantastic sounding amp. There is now also a companion iFi Audio Flagship DAC to go along with their flagship Pro iCan amp. It's called the iFi Audio Pro IDSD DAC. This DAC supports PCM up to 32768 and DSD up to DSD 1024. It has selectable tube or solid-state analog stages. It also supports MQA. It has LinkPlay high-res Wi-Fi network playback, so the Pro IDSD is not just a DAC, but also a preamp, headphone amp, and digital streamer. The Pro IDSD is built around a Chrysopia FPGA and a quad stack of Burr Brown BitPerfect DSD and DXD DACs in a custom interleaved configuration. Now, if you want the closest thing to a portable version of the Pro iCan and Pro iDSD smushed together, make sure to check out the iFi Audio Micro iDSD Black Label Portable DAC Amp Combo. The Micro iDSD Black Label will decode PCM up to 32768 and DSD up to DSD 512, and it has an amp stage that'll drive up to 4,000 milliwatts into 16 ohms. It's no wonder the Micro iDSD Black Label is immensely popular in our community. Empire Ears will be at CanJam at RMAF, and I've finally had time to do more than just dabble with, to actually spend some time listening to a few of the IEMs from their extensive and popular lineup. Empire Ears sent us 3 universal fit models, and what a fascinating mix of sound signatures. There are such clear and easy to understand distinctions between these models, making their roles, their aptitudes and strengths a breeze to identify. Now with these 3 Empire Ears in-ear monitors, I felt a bit like Goldilocks. With the 3 bowls of porridge, only all the bowls of porridge tasted good, but for me, one was definitely just right. The Empire Ears ESR Universal is Empire Ears' flattest sounding in-ear monitor, the one of the 3 with the most uncolored tonality. Now all 3 drivers on each side are proprietary balanced armatures in a 1 low, 1 mid, 1 high configuration. To my ears, the tonality of the ESR is on the cooler side, and it sounds fast, incisive. ESR stands for Empire Studio Reference, and it's aptly named as it's clearly the studio monitor of the family. The Empire Ears Legend X is the flagship of Empire's Hybrid X line of IEMs, and it's a tactile, engaging in-ear monitor. The Legend X is a 7 drivers per side hybrid. On each side are 2 dynamic W9 subwoofers, 2 mid-balanced armatures, 1 mid-high BA, 1 high BA, and 1 super high balanced armature. I'm an occasional basshead audiophile, and the W9 subwoofers in the Legend X can be felt as well as heard. The Legend X is an intense, physical IEM. The Phantom by Empire Ears, as far as I'm concerned, this one is just right. The Phantom is the flagship of Empire's EP series. It uses 5 drivers per side, all balanced armatures, in a 2 low, 1 mid, 1 high, and 1 super high configuration per side. The Phantom has a gorgeous balance, detailed and fast, but smoothly so. The bass has what I describe as mild emphasis above neutral, but right where I like it. It also images beautifully and airy. Now all 3 of these models come with cables made by one of my favorite cable makers, Effect Audio from Singapore. All 3 use Effect Audio's Aries 2 cable, which is a super flexible UPOCC Litz copper cable terminated in Oyide gold-plated right-angle plugs. Now Empire Ears also offers 2.5mm and 4.4mm Pentacon balanced terminations. Make sure to stop by Empire Ears exhibit at CanJam at RMAF to listen to the ESR, the Legend X, and the Phantom. Listen to their entire lineup if you can, but if you have to pick one, I'd recommend the Phantom for sure. Wow. When you consider HiFiMan's product line in its entirety, it's pretty remarkable the range they cover in terms of price and performance. So on the one hand, you have the $500 planar magnetic HiFiMan Sundara, which, by the way, you must listen to if you haven't already, and the Sundara is undoubtedly one of the strongest price-performance headphones available right now. In fact, in just about every price category they build to, HiFiMan has a model that competes in terms of sound quality as among the very best at those prices. Now moving towards the other end of the price continuum, and also new, is the just announced HiFiMan HE1000 SE. The HE1000 SE is the 3rd and most recent model of the HE1000 line. The HE1000 Mark II will still remain in the line, by the way. Now when it came to the first 2 models of HE1000, I was admittedly torn between the incisive, more controlled, more resolving HE1000 Mark II and the first-gen model's slightly bloomier bass and comparatively more forgiving nature. The HE1000 SE sounds to me like the best of both of its predecessors, while still being more resolving than either of those models. Now with the HE1000 SE, I believe HiFiMan updated the magnets, and among other things, it's now also more sensitive. Another just announced new headphone is the HiFiMan HE6 SE, and I guess I should have put the word new in quotes because the HE6 SE is actually a return of the classic HiFiMan HE6, but with a much needed new headband and very welcome 3.5mm connectors on the ear cups. Now you know, sometimes I think we let new things get in the way of old things. There's a lot of classic great gear that falls the wayside with the constant flow of new products. I think the HE6 is one of those products. Now its performance, its resolution and speed, it was ahead of its time, and a lot of headphone enthusiasts still hold the HE6 in high regard, and with very good reason. It's still flagship class. Now the HE6 SE, just like the HE6, is fantastically inefficient, so don't buy it unless you've got the power to drive it. Now HiFiMan is including the HE adapter with the HE6 SE. This allows you to use your loudspeaker outputs to drive it. Like I said, it needs a lot of power, but it will reward amply when driven well. Now I've been driving it with the powerful new Chord Electronics Hugo TT2. It powers the HE6 SE very well even from its unbalanced headphone output. Now, as I understand it, HiFiMan only had the parts available to comfortably build and support 600 HiFiMan HE6SEs. So yeah, it's a limited edition. If you want one, jump on it. I can't imagine 600 of these will last long. Also, HiFiMan will have the Shangri-La Junior system at CanJam at RMAF. And now that HiFiMan is going to be selling the headphone from the $50,000 Shangri-La Senior system separately, I believe they're going to be showing it being driven by the Shangri-La Junior's amp. Yes, as you can see, we've used this combo before, and this amp actually wrings a lot of the Shangri-La Senior's magic out of an infinitely more affordable but still very expensive system. Now, the Shangri-La Junior's amp will also drive Stax headphones well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see people trying Stax headphones out with it at CanJam at RMAF. Anyway, check out all of these things and the rest of HiFiMan's line at CanJam at RMAF. The 64 audio Tia Fourte, the very first time I heard it, absolutely blew me away, and it continues to this day. The sound is rich in tone, rich in detail. The Tia Fourte's imaging is big but never diffuse, always cohesive. With the right tips, foam tips are all I'll use with it, the details in the highs are crisp and real, but never strident. As I've said many times before, to my ears and for my tastes, it's overall the best sounding non-electrostatic IEM I've heard, period. The Tia drivers inside are custom balanced armatures with their enclosures opened up to allow the diaphragm to directly radiate the sound. The sound's not guided through tubes. In fact, Tia stands for tubeless in-ear audio. Now, this obviously has something to do with the Tia Fourte's magic, its speed, its resolution. There's also an electrodynamic driver inside to handle low frequencies, and its bass extension is deep, tight, fast. If the Tia Fourte is going to be at one of our CanJams, I'm going to make sure you know about it so you can check it out. And while you're at 64 Audio's exhibit, make sure to hear their other models too, which I've been perhaps too distracted by the Tia Fourte to do myself. Sennheiser will be at CanJam at RMAF, and I think we all know what they're bringing that so many of you most want to hear. Of course, I'm talking about the Sennheiser HD820. This is Sennheiser's long-awaited closed-back sibling to their Sennheiser HD800 and HD800S. And yes, it will be there. The HD820 is a wonderful headphone that's in a category that I'd describe as flagship-class closed-back headphones. This is a category with a lot of space to fill, as there just aren't many closed-backs that make that grade. There are others, but it's definitely not a crowded category. The HD820 is also the widest imaging closed-back I've yet heard, which helps it stand out in an already small crowd. With the HD820, as you may have seen by now, Sennheiser went for rather unique engineering and acoustical design. For example, rather than the use of traditional dampening behind the drivers, Sennheiser designed concave reflectors constructed of deep-drawn Gorilla Glass. These direct the reflected sound to acoustic absorbers on the perimeter of the ear cups, and there's also a whole lot more going on in there. Now, much thought was given to psychoacoustics in voicing the HD820. If you haven't already seen Axel Grell's seminar about the HD820's design and voicing, I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can watch it, as it's a very compelling talk. Sennheiser will probably be driving the HD820 with the Sennheiser HD-V820 DAC amp combo, and if so, you're in for a treat, as it's a wonderful pairing, the HD-V820 being optimized for the driving of high-impedance headphones. Now, of course, Sennheiser will have much more of its product lineup at the show. Make sure to hear the Sennheiser HD660S when you visit them. This is the lower impedance Sennheiser HD600 class model in the lineup that was released last year. The Sennheiser IE800S is Sennheiser's flagship IEM, and it's a significant refinement of the IE800 in-ear monitors, so make sure to hear that too. Listen to all of these things and maybe even more new products at Sennheiser's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. For as long as Shure makes what I think is still the best sounding in-ear monitor I've ever heard, regardless of form factor or price, then I feel it important to point out that you'll have an opportunity to hear it at CanJam if it's going to be there. I'm talking about Shure's flagship IEM, the Shure KSE 1500. It's an electrostatic earphone that's available in two systems from Shure. The KSE 1500 system, which comes with the KSE 1500 earphones, DAC, and electrostatic headphone amp, and the KSE 1200 system, which is what you're looking at here. It comes with the KSE 1500 earphones and the same electrostatic amp, but without the DAC. The KSE 1200 system is a little more compact, and the price is substantially lower too, so it's a nice choice if you don't need the DAC. What makes the KSE 1500 earphones so special is that they're full-range electrostatics. A single electrostatic driver covers the entire audio band. It's not a hybrid. And it's a closed-back design, so there's substantial isolation from ambient noise. Now, the level of inner detail and resolution you get from the full-range electrostatic driver, combined with isolation, is singularly unique. There's nothing else like it. Now, again, regardless of price, form factor, or category, this KSE 1500 full-range electrostatic earphone, whether it's in the KSE 1500 system or the KSE 1200 system, remains the best-sounding IEM I've ever heard. If you haven't heard it yet, you must take the time to do so at CanJam at RMAF. Of course, Shure will have the rest of their lineup there too. Schiit Audio's lineup will be on display at CanJam at RMAF, and with so many products in their line nowadays, I thought I'd pick a couple of highlights. This is the just-announced Schiit Modi 3 DAC. It just arrived here today, so I've only had a very short listen to it so far, but so far so good. Now with the Modi 3 come improvements over the Modi 2 Uber, both for better sound and functionality. The Modi 3 has the option to be USB powered or externally powered. Schiit Audio provides a 5-volt wall power supply and USB micro cable. With the external power supply, you can use it with mobile phones and tablets, as the Modi 3 reports as a 0 milliamp USB device when it's used this way. This is very groovy for an ultra-compact setup, which I tested powered from an Anker portable phone charger. I obviously haven't had a chance to measure the Modi 3 in the lab yet, but Schiit Audio measured it on their Audio Precision APX 555 audio analyzer and posted the measurements. Based on those, it's quite possible the new Modi 3 is their best measuring DAC, and it's only $99. I'll play with it more and also measure the Modi 3 myself after CanJam at RMAF and CanJam Shanghai. Now the other Schiit Audio product I'll highlight is their Lear 3, a fully discrete, current mode, non-inverting 6SN7 bipolar hybrid with a constant transconductance output stage. Delivering up to 9 watts RMS into 16 ohms, it'll drive just about anything. Switch it to low gain and you've got the soft touch and low noise needed to drive even sensitive IEMs. Tube flavor for IEMs. As a tube amp aficionado, I dig. Anyway, make sure to hear these and the entire lineup of Schiit Audio gear at CanJam at RMAF. Audeze will be at CanJam at RMAF with what may be the most technology-packed headphone I'm aware of, with their Audeze Mobius. We did an entire HiFi TV episode about the Mobius, so please do check it out for a more detailed look at the technologies within it. The Mobius decodes up to 7.1 surround from USB, made much more convincing with ultra-precise head tracking. And even though it's being marketed primarily as a gaming headset, I've been using it mostly for movies when I'm not using it to listen to music. And for audiophile types like me, here's how to best look at it. The Audeze Mobius is an affordable, active-only Audeze closed-back planar magnetic headphone driven by a built-in balanced amp with up to 1 watt per channel output, so it has drive. It can be driven wired via a 3.5mm analog jack or using its built-in USB DAC via USB-C, and it can also be used wirelessly as a Bluetooth headphone that supports the LDAC codec for high-res wireless. The Mobius is incredible, and again, it's affordable. Of course, Audeze will also have its more traditional headphones for you to hear at the show. Highlights include the new Audeze LCD2 closed back. They'll also have the LCD2 Classic, which has been very popular, an update to the Classic Prephaser original LCD2. Also make sure to audition the incredible Audeze LCD4Z. I love the original LCD4, but it's too heavy for me. The LCD4Z with the magnesium chassis shaves a lot of weight off, and I can wear it for hours comfortably, which I can't do with the original LCD4. The LCD4Z is also a lot more sensitive, so you can drive it with just about anything. RHA will once again be exhibiting at CanJam at RMAF this year. Now, over the years, RHA has garnered a reputation for products that defy expectations and offer excellent value. This is RHA's new CL2 Planar Magnetic in-ear monitor. Actually, this is a pre-production prototype CL2 that we've been fortunate enough to check out here at HiFi HQ. Now, housed within each earpiece is a very compact 10mm planar magnetic driver, the smallest planar magnetic driver we've yet come across in a production in-ear. And while you can listen to the CL2 planar passively via its 3.5mm braided copper cable or its balanced 2.5mm silver-coated cable, and both are included by the way, you can also listen to the CL2 wirelessly. The CL2 planar comes with its very own wireless Bluetooth neckband, offering up to 12 hours of battery life and featuring aptX for lossless wireless playback. Anyway, visit RHA's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF 2018 and be among the first to hear the new CL2 planar for yourself. And while you're there, be sure to check out their MA750 wireless, their MA650 wireless, their T20, and the rest of the RHA line. Westone will be at CanJam at RMAF, which shouldn't be surprising. Westone is a Colorado-based company, so RMAF is in their backyard. Now, with so many newer companies offering premium IEMs in the last several years, it's easy sometimes to lose sight of an older brand like Westone. That would be a mistake. Westone is among the most experienced IEM manufacturers out there, period. The brothers Carl and Chris Cartwright are two of the most veteran, most skilled artisans when it comes to IEMs. Their roots go back to the earliest days of modern custom IEMs with Jerry Harvey. If you're in the market for a custom in-ear monitor but worried about getting the perfect fit, you should definitely consider seriously Westone's custom IEMs. Westone custom IEMs are manufactured with a hard acrylic shell with a body heat activated canal portion that softens as it warms to body temperature. The way the canal portion softens when you wear it, in my opinion, leads to a more comfortable and forgiving fit than plain hard acrylic canals. I still use the Westone ES60 custom IEM. The ES60 uses 6 balanced armature drivers per side, 2 lows, 2 mids, and 2 high-frequency drivers with a passive 3-way crossover. The ES60 has detailed, fast bass with a slight lift. The ES60's mids sound linear, smooth, and the treble is extended with very nice presence, very detailed without being bright. The ES60 also images very well. Westone wanted me to try their flagship ES80 in-ear monitors, but I'm so smitten with the ES60 that I haven't gotten to the ES80. Now, HeadFi staffer Warren, who goes by Warren P. on HeadFi, he does have the ES80, which, by the way, has 8 custom-tuned balanced armature drivers per side. Now, Westone's goal with the ES80 was balance and detail. Warren concurs, calling the ES80 one of the most revealing and resolving in-ears he's ever heard. If I get a chance, I'll give their ES80 demo a listen. Of course, Westone also has a fantastic and very complete line of universal fit IEMs in addition to their custom fit in-ears, so make sure to give them all a listen at CanJam at RMAF. I've said it before and it's still true now. I can't think of a headphone that's been praised and well reviewed in our community over the past years consistently as the Focal Clear. Now, with a sonic character that I feel is perfectly slotted between the Focal Illier and Focal Utopia, the Clear brings some of the punch of the Illier but with more tautness and control down low, and it has the ability to resolve details that isn't quite at Focal Utopia levels but certainly approaches it. Like its Focal flagship family members, the Focal Clear is a marvel of electrodynamic acoustical engineering, with improvements to its voice coil design versus its Illier sibling. Anyway, make sure to check out the Clear, its flagship siblings, the Illier and the Utopia, and the rest of their headphone and earphone lineup at Focal's CanJam at RMAF exhibit. Some companies know how to do show setup better than the average bear, and Woo Audio is definitely one of them. Sure, it starts by having great products of your own, and Woo Audio makes some wonderful amps, one of my very favorites being this little guy here. This is the Woo Audio WA8 Eclipse transportable vacuum tube amp with built-in DAC. We did an entire HeadFi TV episode about it, so please check it out. But in addition to their vast family of amps, Woo Audio always comes to shows with a great collection of headphones with which to audition their amps. At CanJam at RMAF, they'll have a bunch, including the Focal Utopia, HiFiMan Susvara, Sennheiser HD820, Sony MDR-Z1R, the Audeze LCD4Z, and many others. Now, one other new and exciting headphone that Woo Audio will have is this. This is the Quad ERA1 planar magnetic headphone. If you're a veteran audiophile, then you probably immediately associate legendary British manufacturer Quad with their classic and outstanding electrostatic ESL loudspeakers. Well, Quad decided to make a headphone, and they went with a planar magnetic design that was engineered and voiced with inspiration from their ESL loudspeakers, and I can hear that. These are surprisingly good, like solid planar magnetic headphones that a legendary electrostatic loudspeaker manufacturer might engineer. Clean, airy mid-band, physical, impactful bass that's tastefully voiced, articulate treble. And it comes with 2 different sets of ear pads for a couple of different voicing options. The ERA1 is really good. I'll have more to say about this one later. In the meantime, hear the Quad ERA1 for yourself, along with Woo Audio's fantastic tube amps at the Woo Audio exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. If you're someone with a pro audio background, or if you're the type who has a recording studio at home, then you're probably familiar with the brand Mackie. Mackie is best known for their reasonably priced pro audio gear, studio monitor loudspeakers, PA systems, recording interfaces, mixers, and things like that. And now, Mackie has entered our world with headphone products. Now, Mackie sent us the 3 models from their MP series of in-ear monitors: the single dynamic driver MP120, the dual dynamic driver MP220, and the hybrid single dynamic single balanced armature MP240. Now, Mackie created these as stage monitors, and I'm sure they'd be good in that role. However, as with many other in-ear monitors intended for the stage, the MP series also brings audiophile appeal to the table. The MP120 and the MP220 no doubt hold their own at their very affordable prices. The flagship Mackie MP240, though, the hybrid dynamic balanced armature piece, this is definitely the most balanced, most audiophile-oriented of the 3. The MP240's dynamic driver provides excellent bass presence and punch with mild emphasis, and nicely integrated detail and shimmer through the rest of the audio band from the balanced armature. Now, for its low price, it's more than I expected. It sounds more like the product of a veteran IEM maker than a newcomer. This is very impressive value. All 3 models come with 3 different types of ear tips: foam, silicone, and double flange silicone in 3 different sizes. And all 3 also come with a very nice hard side Rode case. Now, CanJam at RMAF, Mackie will also be showing new headphone models that we're not yet allowed to tell you about or show you. We were really hoping to be able to tell you about these new headphones, but they won't let us, so make sure you go to Mackie's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF to hear these new headphones we can't tell you about, and of course the MP series IEMs I did just tell you about. The very best sounding hi-fi system I've ever heard was back in 2002 at the Home Entertainment Show in New York. It was the Joseph Audio Manley Laboratories SPJ Cardis exhibit. Jeff Joseph ended the demo by playing Louis Armstrong's St. James Infirmary on vinyl. I closed my eyes and Louis Armstrong was in that room. Several of us in the room literally had tears well up in our eyes during that finale. I'll never forget the experience. The amplifiers driving Joseph's loudspeakers were Manley Labs Neoclassic 250 all-tube monoblocks. Now, Manley is one of those rare companies that has a sterling reputation, the full and complete respect at the highest tiers of the pro audio world, the people who create and record the music we love, and the audiophile world. Well, I've always hoped that one day Manley Labs would develop their own dedicated headphone amplifier, and they did. They even had their top people on this one. Ivana Manley, Zia Faruqi, Mitch Margolis, Humberto Rodriguez. It's called the Manley Absolute headphone amplifier, and it's beautiful. The Manley Absolute headphone amplifier uses two 12AT7 or ECC81 tubes and four 6AQ5A or EL90 tubes. It'll output up to 1 watt into 12 ohms, so it has good drive for most headphones. Its volume control is a ½ decibel per step precision step relay attenuator, and by the way, it comes with this super groovy RF remote volume control. The Absolute is a very interesting, very full-featured amp, full of unique and engaging features. Perhaps most interesting is the fact that the Absolute has switchable topology. On the fly, you can switch between all-triode push-pull and single-ended topology, which alters the harmonic structure from odd order to even order and essentially halves the output power. Now, using a button, you can also cycle through 3 ranges of output loads. There's also a variable feedback control that allows you to control the amount of overall negative feedback applied to the amplifier. All of this flexibility makes it difficult to describe exactly how the Absolute sounds, because you can tweak it to suit your tastes, and I do enjoy the distinct and different flavors and colors I can achieve with it. Now, the Absolute is so unabashedly a tube amp, and it's capable of delivering all the sonic things tube audio enthusiasts are searching for. The tonal colors, the richness. This amp is a perfect example of why you'll see a good number of tube amps around here at HeadFi HQ. That said, though, I have been kind of slowly drifting away from tube gear the last several years, but the Manley Labs Absolute headphone amplifier is making me ask myself, why? I think I better find St. James Infirmary on vinyl and fire it up through the Absolute. Anyway, make sure to hear this amp at the Manley Labs exhibit at CanJam at RMAF. For most of the last several decades, one of the most conservative, most traditional of the established premium headphone makers has been Beyerdynamic. In the last few years, though, they seem to have found a wellspring of creativity and a more forward-thinking mentality. In fact, the very first time I heard an aptX HD headphone was when Beyerdynamic let me hear a prototype Xylento wireless at a meeting in Tokyo. I was aware of aptX HD by then, but this was the first I'd actually heard it. Even now, the Xylento wireless remains the most resolving Bluetooth headphone of any type I've heard. But one of the main points I'm trying to make here is that I didn't expect conservative old Beyerdynamic to make the first aptX HD headphone I'd ever hear. Eventually, Beyerdynamic released this, which is now my favorite Beyerdynamic over-ear headphone, wired or wireless. This is the closed-back Amaron wireless. Now, prior to the Amaron wireless, the Audio-Technica ATH DSR 9BT was my reference Bluetooth over-ear for quite some time. The Amaron wireless has assumed that position now. The Amaron wireless has AAC, aptX, aptX LL, and aptX HD. Its tuning is even-handed and resolving, but with a good seal it gives me just the kind of lift I want in the bass from my reference headphones. The Amaron wireless was tuned acoustically, not via DSP, so it sounds essentially the same whether used wirelessly or wired. However, the Amaron wireless does have powerful DSP within it if you want to use it, and I'll get to that in a minute. This is an even newer wireless Beyerdynamic headphone that was just announced at IFA last month. This one's called the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC. This unit here is a prototype we have for evaluation, but even as a prototype, it's impressive already. The Lagoon ANC is a circumaural on-the-go headphone, especially suited for travel with its active noise canceling. I would guess that like the Amaron wireless, the Lagoon was tuned very carefully acoustically because it sounds very nice in either wireless or wired mode. Now, if this Lagoon prototype tuning is any indication, its sound signature is more balanced, more audiophile friendly than most of its competitors in this class by Sennheiser, Panasonic, Sony, Bose, and others. I'll wait until it's in its production form before I assess the Lagoon's ANC efficacy in airplanes, though. The Xylento wireless, Amaron wireless, and Lagoon ANC all have advanced DSP capabilities within them. They work with Beyerdynamic's MIY app to give you a hearing test, and then they personalize the headphone sound signature for you using DSP. This feature can be switched on or off, so if you're an audio purist, you don't need to worry. Anyway, make sure to stop at Beyerdynamic's exhibit at CanJam at RMAF to hear their entire lineup, and especially their state-of-the-art wireless headphones. I think you'll come to the same conclusion that I did. This is a new chapter in Beyerdynamic's long history. While the product you see in front of me here is neither a headphone nor located in the CanJam area of RMAF, I had to mention it as this loudspeaker system has very strong ties to our community. This is the Dragonfire Acoustics Mini Dragon Planar Magnetic Professional Near-Field Monitor System, and it was designed by Audeze's Chief Technology Officer and co-founder, Dragoslav Solic, who many of us call Dr. C. Dragonfire Acoustics is one of Dr. C's other ventures. The Mini Dragon system is intended for both professional use in the studio — it would probably be one of the most revealing near-field monitors most have heard — and also for audiophiles. Now, the system consists of these Dragonfire planar magnetic satellites and a Dragonfire SB28 subwoofer. The satellites are built around an entirely new generation of planar magnetic transducer technology with extension up to 50 kHz. The SB28 subwoofer uses an 8-inch custom, high-speed, high-excursion, low-distortion electrodynamic woofer and a high-excursion 8-inch passive radiator tuned for 30 Hz bass extension. We're going to be doing a dedicated video about this system down the road, and we'll cover the technologies in the system in much greater detail. Put simply though, the Mini Dragon system has very advanced DSP and room correction. My office acoustics are atrocious, which was proven by measurements and obvious when listening. However, after implementing the system's room correction, both listening and measurements showed infinitely better performance. Flat bass extension down to 30 Hz and fantastically linear frequency response across the audio band at the listening position. The DSP corrects and optimizes in both the frequency and time domains. Now, there's so much more to this system, and again, we'll be saying more about it later. Most importantly for now, though, you'll be able to hear this remarkable Dragonfire Acoustics Mini Dragon system at RMAF, not in the CanJam area, but in room 4007. Just as we were wrapping up shooting, a few companies told us about new products that are now confirmed to show at CanJam at RMAF. I thought you should definitely know about these. JDS Labs sent us this engineering prototype of an upcoming amplifier called the Atom amp that they'll be showing at CanJam at RMAF. The Atom was conceived as a next-generation replacement for the popular Objective 2 or O2 amp. Based on more than a decade of amplifier design evolution at JDS Labs, the Atom is streamlined to include everything their customers have requested without additional configuration. Key takeaways: ample power, no noise, front-mounted buttons. JDS Labs intends the Atom amp as their new standard for performance and value in a headphone amp. Joe Skubinski of distributor The Evolution of Sound and also of JPS Labs and Abyss headphones confirmed that 11 Audio will be showing their new Sagra DAC R2R DAC at CanJam at RMAF. The Sagra DAC is a 27-bit discrete resistor ladder DAC that decodes PCM up to 24384. 11 Audio utilizes fully regulated power supplies in their Class A ultra-low noise analog circuitry. I'm looking forward to hearing this Sagra DAC. Also, 11 Audio will be showing an updated, improved version of their Formula S headphone amplifier. The new Formula S, I'm told, has upgraded performance and can be run, if you have two of them, as dual monoblock headphone amplifiers. ZMF Headphones will be showing two new headphone models, the Verite and the Aeolus. The Verite is ZMF's new flagship, featuring a 300-ohm, 50mm vapor-deposited beryllium driver in a mostly open enclosure. Versus previous ZMF drivers, the Verite has a lighter voice coil, stiffer membrane, and stiffer rubber surround for faster response and lower distortion than any other ZMF model. The Verite's chassis will be made of pure magnesium with a steel grille influenced by a golden mean design, and according to ZMF, the Verite will be by far the lightest ZMF headphone yet. The Verite will be available for sale in early November. The other new ZMF model is the Aeolus. ZMF says the Aeolus is a powerful, impactful open headphone that will be released as the companion to the ZMF Atticus. Utilizing the same PET 300-ohm driver as the Atticus, the Aeolus brings everything ZMF Atticus owners love about the Atticus, but improves extension on both ends, has more spacious stage, and retains the Atticus's famous forward mids. The Aeolus will be available for pre-order in November. Finally, HiFiMan will be showing 3 new headphones that we have very little information about at this time. We only know that they'll be at CanJam at RMAF. One is called the Aria, and it's a large over-ear planar magnetic headphone. That's all I know about it. The HE5 SE looks like a reissue of the classic HiFiMan HE5, I'm guessing in the same vein as the HE6 SE and the original HE6. Now, the Jade 2 is actually not just a new electrostatic headphone from HiFiMan, but a system, the headphone and the amplifier. I don't believe they've finalized pricing yet, but I do know what price range they're looking at, and I have a feeling most will be pleasantly surprised. Well, that was a lot of new products and gear, yet still just a taste of what you'll be able to hear and see at CanJam at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, which again is happening October 5th, 6th, and 7th, 2018 at the Denver Marriott Tech Center Hotel in Denver, Colorado. Since there was no way to show you everything that'll be at the show, scrolling on your screen now is a list of all the companies who will be exhibiting at CanJam at RMAF this year. Now, we've got a Denver flight to catch, so off we go. For those of you attending, I can't wait to see you there. And for those of you who can't make it, we'll see you on the forums at headfi.org.